And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For today's podcast episode, I have Taco with me. So hello to everybody, Taco.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Movie Lovers Unite universe.
And I also have John Henry. He's back again. I did a very special one-on-one interview with him a while
what's up?
back. And it's good to have y'all on the show because we're actually going to be talking about our top 5 Soprano episodes. And we're just going to go on ahead and talk about that. We're also going to do a little bit of our favorite moments of The Sopranos, funny moments, shocking moments, all that other good stuff too, like towards the end and everything too. So with that being said, let's go on ahead and dive into it. So when you look at The Sopranos as a whole, I mean, there's not a single bad episode when you think about it. There's some moments where it kind of slows down a little bit, but it slows down for a certain reason. To tell a story, to give us motivation behind Melfi's dream sequences and stuff like that. Now, there are some people that don't like the dream sequences and stuff like that. I like the dream sequence episodes and everything because I like to analyze certain dreams and stuff like that. But with that being said, I'm going to go on ahead and leave the floor to Taco to talk about his number one and everything as far as what he liked about his couple of episodes.
Okay. I mean, I want to echo your sentiment of there isn't really a bad episode. And there's definitely ones I don't love, but I've now rewatched the show multiple times. There isn't an episode I skip. And that's weird. There's episodes of other shows where, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'll skip, a couple episodes here and there where I'm like, do we really need to do this one right now? Can we get back into the plot, filler episodes? And I just don't feel that way of Sopranos. The only one that comes to mind, and I hope it's not on anyone's list, is D-Girl, because it's pretty self-contained, and I want to get back into the action. But there's so many really good moments in that show. That episode is still good on its own, but it just kind of slows it down and takes it a little. So you said my number one. Do you mean my number 5?
Yeah, your number 5.
Yeah, my not favorite. Okay. I'm going. I wish I would have. I wrote down which episode it was, but I want to say it's from season 5. I want to talk about long-term parking.
That's actually on my list.
So we're punting?
Parking. Yep, I guess we're punting right now. So
unless it's number 5 for you. If it's number 5 for you, then we can. If not, we'll punt.
That's actually number 2 for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So go to my number 4 then?
No. We can go on ahead and talk about it. I'll just go back and forth. I'll put this one off the list and everything, and that'll be it. That'll be me talking about it.
Okay. This episode, I almost consider you need a little bits and pieces from the episode The Ride to really kind of fill it in of episode or season 6, because then you finally really see the conversation between Tony and Christopher and how it went down. But without that little bit, and I think it was so genius for us to see that really pivotal conversation way later, because in that episode, all seeing it from Adriana's point of view is so bleak and sad and so surprising. It's actually one of the deaths that completely wrecked me. It didn't shock me. The second she talked to an FBI person, I was like, well, she did. But she's such a relatable character and flawed and in everything. And I was like, she's gonna get out of this or something. And the fact that it was another lovable fan favorite, one of my favorite characters that ended up having to do it, makes it so it's such a hard moment of the show. But yeah, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I'll go in and talk about it. To be honest with you, I wasn't surprised whenever Adriana as soon as she was talking to the FBI, I knew she was dead. As soon as she was talking to the feds, I knew she was going to die, but I didn't know how soon she was going to die or how long it's going to be until the next season when she dies. Either. Once they let it linger over to season 4, I'm like, okay, maybe in season 5 they might actually whack her. And that's exactly what happened. But as far as it being shocking, it's not shocking, but at the same time, now this is the scene that I always liked with Christopher whenever he's looking at this family and he's reflecting back on himself. He's like, can I live like that? Is basically what he's saying. Can I live without being a gangster? Can I live without the money? Can I live without Tony? Can I live without the family? Because that's all I know. and then I'm going to be like him, like a schmuck, basically living from paycheck to paycheck and witness protection and everything. And the guy even kind of symbolizes him a little because, in a way, Chris is also a junkie. He's also got this other guy has a mullet, tank top, and everything else, and he's picturing himself with this family, and he's like, "Can I do what he's doing?"
I want to say my family growing up made a cameo as the family that he looked at. I was very white trash poor from the Midwest, so I was like, "What's my dad doing there?" I want to bounce off what you said, but John Henry, you have not said anything yet, so you want
I haven't heard. She's one of my favorite characters, so haven't heard. I knew she was going to die when she was talking to the feds, but haven't heard. That was hard to watch. I really liked her a lot. She was good character.
The performance, the scene that they're talking to each other, Michael Imperioli, I have a love-hate relationship with him as an actor, but he is so good in these scenes with Adriana, and I think that really his acting kind of fell because his best scenes were and especially that conversation that they're having about possibly going, like, both of them were so insanely good in those scenes. And what was I gonna say? Oh, it's funny. I never thought about this until now. So you were saying, how the main reason why he didn't want to do it is he couldn't really leave the life. It had nothing to do with his oath of immorta. Like, he was okay. Like, that didn't bother him. Him betraying the oath isn't what got him. Being a white trash poor junkie is why he didn't want to do it.
See, I was thinking the other way around, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
You. So, I mean, but it's all subjective anyways. It's not very objective because each person can actually look at it and analyze it in a certain light and everything. But I didn't think of it in that kind of context, which is actually interesting that you actually point that out, which I think that is pretty cool that you pointed that out.
Well, they always talk about that oath, and then when it comes down to it, it's never the reason behind anything. Like, it's their code, their big mafia code. But he didn't not want to betray the family. He just didn't want to lose the life. Like, it's selfish. It has nothing to do with the oath. And that comes up a lot of times when they'll betray the oath for money or things like that, or they're angry, so they're going to attack families, like what we see Philly do later on. Like, that oath really gets thrown out of the window quick, and it's not what ties them together. It's the money and the lust for power, and it's so gross. And that's what I love about David Chase is he honors the mob life with showing how disgusting and not okay it is at the same time.
Exactly, because perfect example is Ralphie, for example. He was his top earner. Vito was also his top earner as well.
Yeah.
And all it was, and it's about Tony actually strategizing. He's like, I know that Ralphie screwed up, but can I afford to lose him if I actually do whack him? Same thing with Vito. So what? He's gay, but at the same time, can I afford to lose my other top earner who's actually helping me earn my extra money? Because don't forget, once you get into like the last season, we're dealing with recession, which if Vito was still around, he wouldn't have had that. He would have still been earning Tony some money and everything too. So he would have his top earner, so therefore it wouldn't be so bad. But it's all about money for them.
Before we move, which we probably should, do we want to talk about the cat theory? Does everyone know it? The Adriana becomes a cat theory?
No, I haven't heard about this one.
Okay, well, because her death is part of it. So, the cat at the end of the show that they bring on, and Paulie's like, no, they're demons with skin or fur, whatever he says, and how it's fixated on the picture of Chris. A lot of people think that's Adriana reincarnated as the cat.
Oh.
I hate this theory. I think it's stupid. Because the only thing that you have to go with is there's a time where she wears like skin tight leopard print when she's all dressed up, and then when she crawls away from Silvio, she's crawling on all fours like a cat. It's a really dumb theory, but it shows to fandom of how they're like, look, she's on all fours. reincarnation. Like, such a leap.
Yeah.
Exactly. But for you, John, what about you? What was one of the other episodes that you wanted to talk about? That's in your top
Well,
5 tier.
it's hard to say. Like every episode is good to me. The one that really jumps out of my mind is one of my favorites is when Chris and Polly get stranded in the woods.
Yeah, that's on my list. Pine Barrens. Yeah, that's definitely on my list.
That's
Mine too.
that is just see them react to each other is and overreact about the situation was just hilarious. They're two of my favorite characters anyway. So Polly's my favorite character. So
that's my number 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pine Barrens is kind of amazing. Directed by Steve Buscemi, and it was before he actually came on to act on the show. And I love that show because it also is kind of self-contained, but it is so not only funny, but you're actually like thinking, are they going to just die in the middle of the woods? So like you feel a lot of that survival, and it's almost like, hey, why don't we do like To Build a Fire, or like a Lost in Thin Air? Why don't we do like a John Krakauer, Jack London freaking transcendentalist novel with 2 gangsters who have 0 survival skills?
I love this episode, to be honest with you. And if it wasn't for Paulie doing what he did to the Russian, they wouldn't be in that whole entire predicament either.
Completely pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff like that. That's why I think he got jumped over by Sal, but because he had the worst temper almost. Well, Tony probably, but second, Paulie was off the chain.
Silvio just tells them to go pick up money. It's like a 1 minute thing.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just go and get an envelope, and then he leaves. And then he's like, "Look at this remote. You guys would probably wiping your ass with your hand before you get these fucking remotes." Like, and he just has to fuck with them for no reason.
Right, exactly.
Oh my god!
Fucking foreigners, they got everything. He just throws the remote down on everything with the universal remote.
Because he just won't put the remote on docking station. Yeah. Like I also love the Russian character.
Yeah.
I live in the frozen North Dakota, and I deal with a lot of cold during the winter. It's like -50, -70, and when we've had -70 to -80 wind chill, like you'll literally die starting your car. And then I'll when I travel to the West Coast on vacation, it's like 50, and everyone's wearing like these thick coats. And I'm like, I washed my balls in ice water. You think this is cold? Like, I'm exactly there with the Russian.
Yeah,
and
he's a good character.
Where was this on your list? You said it was also on your list?
Yeah, this was actually my number 1. But but to be honest with you, though, I love talking about the Pine Barrens because of the fact, yes, this is the episode that Steve Buscemi directed before he was even in season 5 of The Sopranos. As a matter of fact, he actually directed a couple of other episodes too, and wrote a couple, I think. But I liked the humor in this, like John said, though, too. The humor in this is just hilarious when you think about it, because you have 2 mafioso guys who's in the woods, who don't have no sense of direction of what's going on how they're going to get out of the woods, have no survival skills at all. Yeah. And here they are in the woods. It was supposed to be a 1 minute pickup, and that was supposed to be it. And then he's like, hey, we're going to go down to a Roy Rogers after we get done killing this guy over here. So anyways, they put him in the trunk. They take him off into the Pine Barrens. And then, of course, they think that he's dead anyways. Anyways, they go on ahead, and the Russian hits him over the head with a shovel. Next thing you know it, the Russian goes running off. Then here comes Paulie shooting him, and they think that they got him and everything because there's actually blood, and there's actually a blood trail in the woods, and of course it's snowing. And then they lose him. So, and I also liked how they zoom in on the camera angle on top to make it look like
the camera going up the tree.
Yeah.
That's what brings the fan theory that he's up that tree. I personally try not to dwell on what happened to him because I don't really see it as the point. Like he disappeared. Right. Screw it. Like that's not the point. And I do. There's two behind the scenes things that make me love this show, and one of them for this episode. One of them is regarding to that, where David Chase finally came up with what he was going to do, and he had the idea, and he comes up and he's like, all right, I think towards one of the last seasons they should be dealing with the Russians again. And then Chrissy runs into him, and he should have like a big scar where he got shot, but the guy is now brain damaged and doesn't recognize him. And then whatever writer, I think it was Terrence Winter, was like, oh yeah, the fans will love that. And David Chase is like, fuck the fans, let's not do it then. like he said the worst possible things. Like, yeah, the fans will like that. Really? Yeah. Well then no, let's not do it.
Who cares what the fans want?
I remember watching it back in the day when and wondering if he was ever going to come back and try to get revenge, or was the Russians going to have repercussions on this, but it never happened. So.
And I love that it never happened, because it gives you that dread. Rest of the and also, so one more behind the scenes thing is Steve Sharippa coming out in the hunting attire. Do you guys know the story behind this? Yeah. So they were he's trying to get Tony to laugh. So Steve Sharippa, without telling anybody, so you can't see it, it's off screen. So when he comes in the genuine laugh from Gandolfini, Steve comes in holding a giant purple dildo, and he walks in holding the dildo, and the genuine, like, him just dying laughing that we see on screen is Gandolfini laughing at that Steve comes in with this giant freaking monstrous dildo. And it's great because now that you know that, Gandolfini isn't the funny part. Junior trying to hold it in, and he like has this little smile, but he's real like motherfucker, because he's not supposed to laugh at the scene. I love that. Awesome. I love that episode so much.
Same here.
And I could talk about that episode for an hour on my own.
Same here as well, but there's actually a couple of other moments that I want to talk about within that episode, and then we'll move on. But another funny thing that I liked about it was Bobby comes, like you said, in that whole entire hunter outfit. That was actually funny. And then, to me, I thought it was comical. Makes the scene a lot funnier because of the whole dildo thing. But at the same time, him dressing up in camouflage was funny, though. And then, also, too, you have Polly and Christopher at Lost in the Woods. They're calling Tony. And Tony goes, by the way, the person that you're looking for, he's in the military. In Green Berets or something like that, and he goes, "Well, he's basically what does he say? Not an interior decorator. That's when
he says he's part of the. I can't even remember it. I'm so tired. I just woke up, everybody. Okay. But it was like the interior something. But he uses the word interior.
Right, and then Polly thinks that he said interior decorator, and then Christopher goes, well, his place fucking sucks.
Yeah, his apartment looked like shit. What the? Yeah, it's so good when he's like, he killed 13 Chechen rebels. Yeah, Tony's like, he killed 13 Chechen rebels. He was, I can't remember the line, but like the interior ministry or something, and he's like, he killed 13 Czechoslovakians. He was an interior decorator. Like, he just gets it lightly off.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
And
also, then even the ketchup packets, too.
Yeah, the ketchup packets.
Trying to starve on the ketchup packets. That was hilarious.
This is actually the B line. It's weird that this is the A story because it's Christopher and Polly gets the A story, but the B story is also really good because it's Tony dealing with Gloria, and this is when she throws the pot roast at his head, and he's trying to deal with this as she's going full Olivia psychopath on him. And if anyone's had a toxic relationship, you know what it's like when you're like trying to live your life and your toxic girlfriend's like, no, but I want to be psycho here for a minute. Like. Yeah, I gotta throw this pot roast at you and freak back out. Yeah, but people are. Yeah, it's such a good episode, and it would be my number one. Like, it's almost my number one, but my number one slightly beat it up. But Pie Marin's is like, holy crap! I can't believe that's your 5, John Henry.
No, it's not really my 5. It's one of my favorites, but I can't think of a list really. But that one comes to mind as one of my favorites, though.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sounds good.
So I'm going to let you go on ahead, Taco.
Okay, cool. I like talking, clearly. I just spelled taco with an LK. So taco lot. Anyways, this is the one that my wife told me that I shouldn't have on, and I just couldn't find another one because I actually really, really like this episode. And it's whoever did this. So it's the death of Ralphie and, well, Pai Oh My and then Ralphie. I love not only that scene, like I could talk about that scene forever, but the rest of that episode is really good as well. But that scene is so insanely good because it doesn't start that way. He just goes there to question him, and he didn't even bring, like, Tony doesn't even bring a gun. He was not there to kill Ralphie. And Ralphie's big mouth gets in the way, and I love both of their performances. What are you, a vegetarian? You eat beef and sausage by the carload. Like, it's such, like, and then they start killing each other. And it's so not like they beat each other to death. Like, it's not a hit. Like, he murders him. He murders Ralphie. And and then all of the Chrissy coming all high on heroin to, like, help him. It's such a, the scene starts off as just a normal scene. Like, the rest of the episode's kind of going on its way.
You didn't see it coming.
Yeah. And then after that happens, the rest of the episode's derailed. They don't get to cover the rest of it anymore because now they have to get rid of this body. And I love that feeling. And you got this super high on heroin, can't light the lighter. so good.
And then he goes, "Oh, I smoked a little weed before coming down here."
Like it's gonna clear it up or something.
Right.
Oh,
like
man.
He's gonna cover up like he's clearly just shot heroin. He's like, I smoked a little weed. Yeah, that's why you're acting like you're high on heroin. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense, Chris. No one can... Good job. But
Oh my God.
you know, and then also too, Ralphie also says it's a fucking horse. It doesn't. And then that's what also sets Tony off. But I like the whole entire thing where they're actually, Tony's choking him. There's also the frying pan that Ralphie gets hit in the head with. Then you also have Tony get sprayed in the eyes with Raid.
The Raid. Oh my God, that hurts. Just thinking about that. Oh. And then the line of she was an innocent, beautiful creature. What'd she ever do to you? So a lot of people think that he's not talking about Pai Oh My there. He's talking about, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but...
I know who you're talking about. The stripper.
Yeah, the just had her 20th birthday stripper, which that Ralphie beat to death the season before. And I really do like her being part of this because it did stick with Tony. Like, it is messed up. Like, a connection that I never made until this last watch through is how the stripper that he beat up is the same age as Meadow, or around the same age as Meadow. And that same episode that he beats her up, you see Meadow dealing with her roommate who's not adjusted, Caitlin, who's not adjusting well to New York. And you see, like, first world problems with them. And Noah, like, want to do restraining order. God, Noah sucks. I want to punch his fucking lights out. That's a line from Noah. And then that's all juxtaposed by look what she has to deal with because she didn't have money and she had like this messed up abusive upbringing. And then she is now sleeping with this twice her age freaking mafioso who knocks her up. And then she tries to defend himself and he beats her to death. And it's such this horrible, like, oh, look at these first world problems. Look what's actually going on, Meadow. And now that gets also brought up in that fight, and I do like to think that's what he's doing. I do like that. I do want to think that has a little bit to do with him killing Ralphie, is when he goes, she's an innocent, beautiful creature. That's not a horse. Horse isn't an innocent, beautiful creature. Like, no, it's a horse. Like, it's got to be something else. Like, and I know
it's all wrapped up into
weird
one, to be honest.
Yeah. Tony's always weird about animals, though, like with the ducks. And animals
Ducks.
are kind of more important than humans. And then, like, Tippy, my dog? What? Yeah, like, he's obsessed with animals. But I do think that that's one reason he killed him. But.
What about
That
you,
makes
John?
sense. No, that makes sense totally. Yeah, because that was a brutal murder and totally uncalled for, really.
Extremely uncalled for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I want to get your guys' opinion on this. Joey Pantoliano, the guy who played Ralphie, claims that the way he played it and how he believes is that he didn't set the fire to kill Pio Mai. He was playing it like in his brain is that he was innocent. And that does make you kind of think, did Tony just go over there and kill this guy for no reason? Like, what if he didn't kill the horse? Like, because he doesn't admit it. He does say, so what? It's a fucking horse. Don't look at me like that.
Yeah,
but that's the closest he gets to admitting it. It could have just been a fire. Tony goes over there. Ralphie just talks his way into getting brutally freaking murdered. His highest earner, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good theory. That's crazy. I never thought about it like that. But yeah, he never admitted it. Really, he just said it's just a fucking horse or whatever he said.
Yeah, that's the only admission, which isn't an admission. That's don't look at me like that. It's a fucking horse.
Well, yeah, he always ran his mouth like that anyway, so he could have just been running his mouth in general.
Yeah,
exactly. And also too, I feel like with Ralphie though too, he burned a lot of bridges. Like for instance, with the whole entire thing with Johnny Sack about telling the James Sack joke, and you know, and then of course, you know, that also might be another thing that set Tony off was the fact that he goes, look, you don't tell him that you apologize for something that you didn't do, because if you apologize and everything, it makes it look like you did it, even though you did it, but you're not. You know what I mean? But that's exactly what he's trying to say. And then instead, Ralphie goes on ahead, does whatever Ralphie wants to do, and pisses off Johnny because he actually owns up to the fact that he told the Jenny Sack joke. Therefore, now Johnny is pissed off at Ralphie, which also causes pretty much a war between the New York family and the New Jersey family.
Johnny wants to put a hit out on Ralphie, and then in the counter flip, Carmine Sr. puts a hit out on Johnny Sack for it. Like, it's literally top-ranking members almost die because of stupid
joke.
Old joke. Yeah.
my favorite Johnny Sack line, though, is like, what does he get to do? Fuck her for $1 million?
You will I think Carmine Sr. is so good that, he wants to fuck her now? Like, he's just so... But his best, and this isn't even in this episode, so here's a tangent, but here's one of my favorite moments, but the Carmine trying to call Tony to get the whack on Johnny, but he won't say anything over the phone. Like, well, it would be bad if something happened to him. And he's like, are you saying what I think you're saying? I ain't saying nothing. I didn't say nothing. And it's like he literally just says, I didn't say nothing. And it's like, are you saying? I didn't say anything. And that's how he puts the hit out on him. It's so good.
Yeah.
So mafioso. Like, all right.
Let's see. I've actually got a season 4 at one of their episodes. It's Whitecaps.
Yeah, that's my number 1.
That is my favorite, man. That episode is something that, to be honest with you, I remember watching it on TV, and that's actually the season finale is what got me into The Sopranos as a teenager, and then going back later on and watched the other 3 seasons. But I remember watching it, and then the way that everything comes, basically Carmela throws Tony out, the whole entire call with his ex-girlfriend, his ex-guma. Then you also have all this other stuff happening inside the episode. And also, too, the reason why it's called Whitecaps is because Carmela and Tony are trying to buy a summer home. Chris also just got a rehab and everything, too. So you have that going on. This season finale was actually really great.
This is my favorite episode because of the freaking performance. I consider Edie Falco's performance in this as probably the best acting I've ever seen. And I don't say shit like that normally. Like, I do think like we can break it down and say the best of a television or whatever, but honestly, I don't think anyone is as good as she is in these scenes. Her, like, there's so many lines in this that she delivers so amazingly, and she gets that frustration of, I just want him gone, but I'm also going to take a couple stabs, as she's like half crying and half angry. Like, that is a fight with your wife. And not that I fight with my wife like that. We have a very loving relationship. I don't have any good mods, but that performance is so insane. And the line that gets me, that I like pause it afterwards and I exhale. I get really into the show, but like it's when he's like, we don't believe in it. We don't believe in divorce. And then he goes, yeah, what about the kids? And she's like, it's horrible. God help them. Because she just doesn't give a shit about them. Like, no, go.
She's
like
done.
So she says the words that she's supposed to say.
Yeah, she's done.
But she delivers it as, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Like
That's not going to keep me from doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
God help them.
She's a great actress.
It's so good. Edie Falco is so good.
She is. She was great in that episode.
And that episode is same thing as whoever did this. It does this. Oh, you feel like the episode's going this way, and then there's a catalyst, and then the rest of it deals with that. And this is the season finale. All these things are coming to a head. It's also the longest episode, and it's a complete self-contained, because the episode starts with them wanting to buy Whitecaps, and then it ends with them. So it's almost like a movie, and it's this long character study of a relationship breakup, of a marriage breakup, in the middle of this mob TV show. Like there's tensions getting high with New York and all this other stuff's going on. And they're like, no, let's talk about their breakup. And it's so powerful. And I love this episode so much.
Same.
It's my number one. Yeah.
And then also, too, the line that she was supposed to say was this, too. I've been masturbating about Furio. And instead, they changed the line from masturbating to I've been fantasizing about Furio.
Yeah. I like that switch a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes more sense, really.
And I think if she would have said it the other way, it wouldn't have that anger that Tony had.
Mm-hmm.
With her saying, I've been fantasizing about Furio, that's when he goes
more like a relationship type.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's
hurts more.
Yeah. And that's when he goes like he's gonna punch her in the face and then turns and just puts his wall so effortlessly or hand so effortlessly through the wall, and she's just standing there like like, oh my god, I love that. Yeah. And I don't want to take away from James Gandolfini's performance. It's equally as good, but he's always really good. Like, and Edie Falco is too, but I think that Edie Falco's performance is top notch, best of the series. In this scene, like these scenes are just, oh my god! But you can't. She couldn't do that without, a complete king of what he's doing to bounce off of. If Gandolfini wasn't there, I don't think it would have worked so well. But it's still so insane. I could talk about. I would do like a scene or like a moment by moment breakdown of that scene that takes 2 hours if I had a channel where I'm like, let's just break this scene down. I could talk about their two arguments for probably 2 hours.
And also too, I also like the fact how Tony gets even with the person that's in charge of the Whitecaps place trying to get out of his deposit.
Oh yeah.
But he does give him some lawyer advice though too.
I love that advice, and I've given that to people who are possibly going to go through a divorce. I've given that advice out because it's so genius. It's so messed up.
But what about you, John? Is there anything else that you want to put onto Whitecaps or anything like that?
Yeah, just when he brings the boat out and plays that music.
Yeah, Dean Martin. Yeah, the Dean Martin music.
And it's so loud they can't stand it. It's just such an obnoxious thing, but it's awesome. It just had me laughing every time I watch it.
I like that it's their theater equipment from their little
home
and you see
entertainment
Benny,
center.
You see like Benny and little Polly like grabbing it, and you're like, why are they taking those out? And then the next scene you see them on the two gods playing it like. Oh, it's so genius.
Classic.
But that divorce lawyer advice of like go and see every single divorce attorney in the area and have one meeting with them and not even take them, just have one meeting. So it's a conflict of interest that she can't go to them. I'm like, that's so genius. So messed up though.
Yeah, it's such a prick move.
Such a prick move.
Good episode though.
Definitely. What about you, John? What's your next one that you have?
It's hard to say that the one that sticks out so much is that, like I said, the where they're stranded. But I don't know. It's hard to say really. I love all the episodes. The first episode's pretty wild because it gets you right into it when they chase that guy down with the car.
I would talk about the pilot. I would love to talk about the pilot.
I love the pilot episode.
You know that Michael Imperioli didn't know how to drive, and he never drove before, and he's supposed to be driving that, chasing the guy down through the park.
Wow, okay.
And he kept crashing on accident, and then Gandolfini goes, "You don't know how to fucking drive, do you?" And he's like, "Oh." And he had to get his license.
Oh, wow.
Right after
I didn't
that.
know that. Wow.
Hey, he's a New Yorker. He never drove. He just taxied everywhere.
That's cool. I never knew that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I like that episode. There's a lot of like things that when you look back, they don't make sense. Like Syl shows up to Santorel's and they're like, "Hey, random not mob guy, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "I'm just gonna pick up some stuff." But what do you mean? Syl is like the concierge later on. Like they kind of play him off like he's just their family friend in the first episode. Like they didn't quite figure everything else out yet.
Yeah.
And then like Syl's like, "Hey, Artie from high school?" It's like everyone knows Artie from high school. Like they all eat there. It's not like an Easter egg of a person. Like there's a lot of like they haven't quite figured it out yet things, but
especially with Big Pussy getting not Big Pussy getting whacked, but another pussy getting whacked.
Pussy Malanga.
Yeah, Pussy Malanga. Yeah, getting whacked.
Yeah.
And everything inside that restaurant, and then of course them blowing up the restaurant so that way he wouldn't get whacked.
Yeah, that's such a weird, like, I want you to kill him that restaurant. I'm going to light the restaurant on fire.
Yeah, it's such a weird
mob thinking.
That's so out of the box. It's just crazy. Like, how did you come with that, I don't know.
I don't want my wife to eat the last candy bar out of the fridge. I'm going to blow the fridge up. What? Such a mob thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I will say I don't have so many. They're mostly favorites, but one of my least episode that I don't like the most is when Pussy gets killed. I know he was snitching and everything, but when he got killed, I don't know. I just felt sorry for him.
Funhouse? Is Funhouse on your list, John?
Yeah, Funhouse is actually my number 5.
I left Funhouse off my list because I thought that you would be talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, Funhouse is easily in my top 5, but I left it out because I thought we would be discussing.
Yeah, we have to talk about Funhouse no matter what.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Well, he just said it was one of his least favorite episodes.
But
that's all right. It's all good.
It's the fever. Well, I understand watching Pussy die, but that whole episode with the fever
it's a great episode. Yeah.
That episode made me think like, oh, this show's different. Like this show's going there, and I love the dream sequences. Are all of my favorite episodes, and especially the Coma episodes. But Funhouse is like one of the first ones that really like, oh. Okay, so we're like it's almost like an art housey episode. Like this show goes like this weird art house, off the beaten path, indie film vibes, and it's a mob show. It's so good. I love it so much.
Yeah, I like the dream sequences too.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about that, or what do we want to do right now?
I can do Funhouse right now if you want, or
I only have one left on my list because my top 2 were Pine Barren and Whitecap. So yeah, I got one last one, and then I would love to talk about Funhouse now if you want to.
Okay, yeah, let's just do Funhouse now, because I thought Funhouse was it was a great episode. To be honest with you, the dream sequence, Tony getting sick off of Buddha at the Buddha restaurant, and then running a fever. And everything, and then of course that's when you have to realize too. This is also when Artie comes in at his home, and everything goes. It didn't come from my restaurant.
Yeah. I also there's a really good fart joke in here.
Yeah.
I wanna. I'm a Rick and Morty fan. We can always find fart jokes in the middle of your really good cinema that are teaching you a lot about life. You got to throw a fart joke in every once in a while, and it's when he's like getting really messed up. And his stomach's all messed up, and he's lighting off these lighting off these big farts, and Anthony Jr. just comes in and goes, who's lighting them big ones? I don't know why, but just the way who's lighting them big ones, it's such a childish way. It makes me just laugh my ass off. The delivery's so good. From very little Robert Eiler, like it's only season 2 still. But he like wakes up and he almost starts like pouring his heart out, like I'm depressed, I'm this, and then his hand moves, is like, it's not my heart, it's my stomach, and then he runs and just And if anybody has ever actually experienced fever dreams, like I had a flu really bad one year, and I remember like I felt like I ate like mezcal from like freaking like Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, because I remember being fever dream, and I remember just laying on my bed and like tripping balls from fever dreams. Like I felt like I just ate a bunch of drugs. and I had that happen to me like right as I started watching the show. And when the fever dream episode came up, I was like, dude, I know what that's like, because then your brain starts digging. And I like that that's how he finds out, because he knew about pussy. I love that it's the fever dream that tells him, because he's just been denying it.
He just hasn't admitted it yet.
Yeah. And hey man, all these fish are sleeping. Whoa, like it's such a
out there.
Don't say that. And I like that in the middle of this fish dream. At the end, he's like, well, $5 a pound. So good.
And then Tony also sets himself on fire, which resembles the high fever. Then also too, I like how also too whenever he's looking in the binoculars at the beach at that little quarter that you can put the quarter in and everything, you can see in the binoculars, and it's actually Tony, not Tony, but Paulie Walnuts sitting down, and everything. He winds up whacking somebody. I forgot who he actually whacks, but that was actually a funny scene. But basically, it's dealing with death and how to actually go ahead and try and whack somebody that you used to love, and everything, and worship the ground that this person walked on, and now you have to go on ahead and put an end to his life because he's been ratting somebody out.
It's really tough, like, to get through this episode, just because you see then Tony has to go and take care of it, but he still has a fever, like, and he looks so horrible the rest of that. Like when he goes to Pussy's house and he's like, oh, I need the puke, but really he's going through to find the wire, and then he eventually finds it, but he still looks like complete shit, like it's still mop sweat. And yeah, I love this episode. I think it's the kind of the first one of that big character death that we like, are they really going to go there? And then they did. But it does that in such a cool art house way of these dream sequences. And also the cinematography and the sound editing in the sequence. Like when he's walking down the Jersey Pier and you hear that like these weird sounds, and it's like it's filmed so like eerie and gross, like sweaty, like it makes me feel sick, like I love it. I love this episode.
Same.
Well, I'm sorry it's one of your least favorite, John Henry.
No, well, I shouldn't say it's one of my least favorite episodes. I just killing the
hard
pussy.
To watch. It's hard to watch.
That's the tough one though. I'm like you. I like the dream episodes. They're wacky and just fun watching them. Yeah, and it's hard to pick a bad episode, really. You know,
that's true. It definitely is hard to pick a bad episode, but also too, I know why it would actually feel sad though, in a sense, because of after they whacked Pussy and everything too, and stuff like that, you're seeing them pick off his jewelry. You're seeing him do all this.
He knows what's coming,
right? And just seeing the drop on his face when he goes, "Okay, can you kill me over here? Can you kill me at this spot? Don't hit me in the face, so that way I can have an open casket for my kids."
Which they throw him in the water. Like there is no casket. Like, and here's another fun behind the scenes. Vincent Pastore, who played Big Pussy, actually was getting boat sick, and he wanted to sit down. And so that wasn't in the script when he goes, "Can I sit down?" That was 100% ad lib, and makes it, and it's what sticks out because he's like, all right, well, I can't stand anymore. Can I just sit as you shoot me? Like it's that adds so much to it.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I never knew that. That's awesome.
Well, they're in a bottom of a boat doing this. Like,
I get seasick too, man. Oh man.
Yeah,
me too.
So, okay. So, any other?
One episode that I liked. I just came to my mind was when Polly went to the psychic and he cussed him out. This motherfucker. Just Polly in general is my favorite character.
All right, I'm quoting Polly here. I don't like this word that much, but when he grabs the chair and he looks like he's gonna throw it at them, and then he turns and just goes, "Fucking quiz!"
Yeah, well, that's totally Polly though.
Gets me so much. And now I think about that when I'm at work and everything's going bad. I just go like, "Fucking quiz!" And I don't like using that word. I would never call anyone that word, but it's and that's what makes it that more absurd is because Tony Sirico is plays Polly so well, and apparently Tony Sirico and Polly are the same person, according to Michael Berlioli and Steve Shrub. That he didn't have to really. Yeah, he's the same dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And I guess they would. No one was allowed to touch his hair. Only he was allowed to do it. And then he does it in the show once. He sprays the Banaka in somebody's mouth. Mm-hmm. He apparently would do that if you're working next to him and he could smell your breath. He'd go, "Here, hold your mouth," and without warning would spray shit in your mouth. I would lose it if somebody did that to me. They're like, "Hey, open your mouth." I'd be like, "What are you?" You're not putting anything in my mouth. What are you doing? You're not my dentist. Get away from me.
Freak me out.
But another thing he would do is like when he was trying to be famous, though, he would used to sit in front of a pool. So what he would do is he would go on ahead and make them page for him.
Yeah, he would put in pages for himself to make him look like a big deal.
Big star.
So people were like, "Why are they calling this Tony Sirico guy so many times?" And he would go up and be like, "Yeah. Uh-huh." Like,
he's such a jackass. It's awesome.
Oh my god! And I guess he was bouncing at a bar that freaking Jimi Hendrix would go to, and he gave Jimi Hendrix a wedgie, and he would make fun of him a lot. He'd be like, "Hey, come here, Jimmy!" Like Jimi Hendrix.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow.
He's such a weird.
That's awesome.
Just a goofball guy. Anyways, I got one last one. It would be my number 3, but I kind of like that. I'm talking about it last on my list. Unless you want to go somewhere else first, John.
No. We can go on ahead and cover that.
All right. Well, it's the end of the series. I got Made in America is definitely on my list. It's the last episode. So,
okay.
You know why? Because all the people who say the finale sucked, they suck. I completely disagree. After I watched this for the first time, I was ready to hate it. Because everyone's like, "Oh, it's so bad. I can't believe." Oh, look, the ending of Sopranos, it became like a meme. And I remember watching it. And then after it ended, I was like, why are they mad? Like, I get it. That was genius. Like, I thought it was awesome. And I watched it way later. The reason I watched Sopranos to begin with is I got HBO, and I wanted to be a snob and joining all the snob conversations. So I watched The Wire, and I watched all these other shows, and I couldn't make it through Deadwood. I apologize to the Deadwood fans. And I watched Oz, and I remember going through all these like top 10 movie lists or TV show lists. And Sopranos is always number 1. And I'm like, why is that number 1? Like no one talks about it anymore. Like, I was completely jaded. And then I finally watched it. I'm like, oh, I don't consider Sopranos my number 1 show, but I do understand why it can be. And I finally watched it. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago for the first time, but I was in my mid-20s when I finally did. And it was like, okay, I get it. And now that ending, because it's been so anti-hyped, I didn't understand why anyone was mad. Like, did they just not get what happened? Like, was it just it cut out so they were mad? Like, you want a closure? Like, that is closure to me. That's the scene ending.
He survived.
That's the cut to black. I don't think he survived.
You don't think so?
I definitely don't think he survived. I think it's very clear he got shot. And I can explain it right now. I've watched so many videos on this. hours and hours of breaking down of this moment. So so I hope we're not going anywhere. I'm going to call in and tell them I'm going to be late for work. But no, I'm kidding. So they set it up at the beginning of the season, which almost was on my list, Sopranos home movies. I almost put that on my list. But
which is good.
It's so good. Bobby tells him, I bet you can't even hear it when it happens. And then talking about getting shot. And then in that episode, after their fight, and he's like kind of sitting there, and this bell is going on, and he hears this bell, and he doesn't look, and then he hears it again, and it does bell, his face, and then what he's looking at, and it sets up that line of sequence. So it goes bell, him, his perspective, and when it's going on, it does that repeating. So in the last episode, when Journey is playing, the only thing I don't like about it is I hate that Journey song. I wish that wasn't how we went out. Because if you've ever been to a white person wedding in the Midwest, you get over Journey really freaking fast. They play nothing but Journey. I'm like, oh my God, is everyone like saying Small Time Girl like they're the only ones who know the lyrics? Like all these freaking people, like, But anyways, Don't Stop Believing is going on. And we're seeing people walk in, and you hear ding, and then it shows Tony's face, and then it shows him looking at them, like at the door, which is his perspective. So it does that over and over again. Ding, Tony's face, his perspective. Ding, ding. So then you see the other guy wearing the members-only jacket, like what Eugene was wearing, comes in and stands behind him like he's waiting for something, and the camera keeps fixating on him for no reason. We don't know who he is. He's not a named character. Why do we now flip over to see what he's doing? So now we're seeing Meadow Soprano and her parallel parking fiasco. She can't park the fucking car. And then when she finally does, she comes in and you see ding, his face, and then his perspective, which is black. So it goes ding, him, nothing. He got shot. And he didn't hear it.
Okay. I didn't think about it like that.
Guy shot him in the back of the head. Yeah, well, you didn't watch the hours and hours of video there, Mr. Henry. Like, you gotta do your work. And I didn't see all that, but I did think he died. The first time I watched it, I was like, did he die? I was at the thought, and then when I first watched the first breakdown, I was like, that's pretty clear. I think, like, once you think about it, and even people that have asked David Chase what happened, he goes, it's all in the last episode. Like, it's clear what I did. And I heard somebody describe this as the lighting your guitar on fire and smashing and ending. And I do consider it that because cinematically, because it is so rock star. It is so fuck you. We don't need to give you closure. Like, this is closure. Black screen. Like, it ends. That's it. The story ended. Deal with it. Like, I think it's awesome. And the fact that they waited like 5 seconds before the credits go up so people had to go check their TV, that's just fun. A little added humor.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. All right. How's that for my monologue? That was only 3 minutes.
That was good though, man. Because seriously, I was actually one of those people that was actually going over there checking my TV set, because I actually had one of those old school TV sets that was actually going out on me. So I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I'm over there slapping it.
Oh man.
And so I'm thinking that there was something wrong with this TV set, but no, that's just the way that they had ended it. But I remember. Right. Well, I also remember not appreciating the ending the way that I wanted to actually end. But I was telling John Henry this before we started, though, too. I appreciate it a lot more because now I don't have those theories. I don't have anything. I can just watch the show for what it is. And knowing that if Pitch goes to black, I already know that he's dead. And everything, because like you said, it's all laid out in the scene. And also, too, there's also a lot of callbacks to other stuff that happened within all the other seasons. Also, too, you actually have Ralphie's jacket that shows up and everything, too. Not Ralphie, but Janice's boyfriend's jacket.
The jacket.
The jacket.
The jacket.
And he gets pissed that he's not wearing the jacket.
I can't say jacket without hearing David Probal go, the jacket.
But yeah, I definitely like this episode a lot now than I did when I first saw it. I thought it was great how it ended. That's the show. That's exactly how it needed to end.
I think the fact that I heard all the negativity for it helped me appreciate it more. Like, like it's the opposite. Like when everyone's like, dude, watch The Godfather. Godfather's amazing. And then you're bored for 3 hours and you're like, why was that amazing? It's that overhype kills it. I just shat on Godfather so hard right there. But that overhype can kill it. This was like underhype. Everyone's like, I don't like the ending. The ending's crap. I never watched and I watched it. I was like, why was that crap? I loved it. Like, except for the Journey song. That was great.
Kaylin, don't start. What about?
But the other one that I have on my list is the test stream.
Jump around.
Yes, good. I'm glad you did. I didn't have that because there was another one I thought we were going to talk about. So that
But
you
yeah.
would have.
The test stream is probably one of my favorites because it's one of those streams that Tony doesn't know what to do with his cousin or anything either, because he actually whacks somebody over in New York and the New York family, which also causes another feud between Phil, which is Phil's brother, that gets whacked.
Yeah.
And everything.
Billy.
And Billy gets whacked. And so it makes you wonder what Tony's going to do about that situation. And then even in the dream, it said, you know what you have to do. And everything.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciated the dream sequences with that.
The restaurant dream sequence in that is the best, where you got Annette Bening like playing what's his name? Finn's mom, and then you have John Hurd, who was played the crooked cop of the first season, is playing Finn's dad. But I didn't notice this until I was watching a YouTube channel is doing another episode breakdown called Pure Kino is the name of this YouTube channel. Check it out. They're doing every single episode of Sopranos. They're doing one episode every month to finish it this month. But anyways, something he pointed out, back to the character of, I wish we remembered her name, but the chick that Ralphie beats to death, she's replacing Meadow in one of those scenes. So when it's flipping around, I'm glad it's not my kid.
I'm sorry. I got my kid crying in the background.
It's all good.
That's good. You're good, man.
My 1-year-old's upstairs. But yeah. So, but what I was gonna say. So in that dream sequence of the dinner, when you're seeing everybody eat around the table, the prostitute that Ralphie beats up is replaced. Meadows replaced by her for like a split second, and you can actually see it if you're just. It's a blink and you miss it, but there's just like that 1 second we're sitting between Finn and Anthony Jr. is that character. And it's just, I like it because it's how your dreams are not solid, how, they
all
move
over the
and they're
place.
fluid and they're all over the place. And he's going to replace characters with other characters for a split second, and him replacing his daughter with her, who shows another connection with that character. And I don't know, like that little detail kind of blew my mind. I didn't know about it until recently. But I do love that. I do love Test Stream.
Test Stream is just great. And then also, too, Season 3, the stripper's name is Tracy.
Tracy!
Oh, Tracy, yeah.
Yep.
Well, sorry that I replaced your identity with that stripper. It really made me feel like a misogynist, chauvinist for a while. Her job, that's her only identity. No, right. Tracy. I'm sorry. I didn't like that. I forgot her name. I was like, of all characters, it has to be that stripper character? Like, come on.
But yeah, that's her name. But yeah, the test stream is really great. I also liked how if Tony wasn't going to whack Tony B, it was going to be Phil. And if Phil winds up whacking him, God knows what Phil would have done. And everything. Yeah. For example, is Vito.
yeah, shoving the pull cube up his ass.
Oh my God!
Broom. I'm sorry.
As he literally comes out of the closet to watch it, it is so hilarious. Because you got this. I want a prequel to that scene. I want to just see them go in, and it's like, you guys hide the bathroom. What are you gonna do? And then Phil looks at the closet. He's like, I know what I'm gonna do. And then this mafioso hiding in the closet. I want that of just seeing freaking Frank Vincent just ooh, this is gonna be a good one. Hiding in a closet. It's so weird to see this made man freaking come out of the closet. It's so goofy.
It is.
And then there's that scene where Phil became a house. You remember that? when they're yelling at him, but you can't see him through the window, so it just shows the house yelling back at them.
Yeah, I remember that.
There's a bunch of YouTube videos that are just like the time Phil was a house, because you don't see Phil. And I commented on it like, I'd rather him be a house than be an animal like that animal Blundetto, is like what I said. That animal Blundetto, Tony B. But back to Test Stream, the other thing that's going on this episode, other than just Tony B killing Billy instead of Philly, you mean Philly, no, Billy, is him wanting to come back. And there's that into the house, because he reconciles with Carmela like the next episode. And I like him sitting on Pyomai, and he's inside the house, and he's like, I want to come back in. And she's like, yeah, but you can't bring your... he's like, I want to move back. And he goes, but you can't bring your horse in here. Yeah. But because of her accent, you hear horse. You can't bring your horse in here. And that's what that's it. That's how they reconcile, is he's like, all right, I'll cheat on you better. But you won't know about it. And she's like, all right, cool. Like, that's really, he's like, I won't bring my transgressions towards the home. That's your... Like, I wish I could be like, honey, can I cheat on you? As long as I'm really good at it. Like, it's such a weird...
And even then, they agree. They compromise, though, too. He goes, I'll give you money for the spec house. Yeah. And I promise I won't bring my affairs to your home.
Yeah. It's such a business deal.
Yeah,
she's like, I want like $500,000 for this land. And he's like, huh? And then you can bang your whores. Okay. It's such a...
So silly.
It is weird. I've never settled an argument with my wife with negotiation. Like, it's always, hey, this is why we're mad. Let's figure it out. It's never like, okay, how about this? You stop bitching, and I'm going to make you your favorite dinner tonight. Like, negotiate out of a fight? Like, it's so weird.
Wacky.
You don't negotiate out of fights.
Hey, how about this? Instead of us fighting, I'm going to give you some $50 to go to the mall.
Yeah.
That'll be
That's my equivalent of the spec house. It's like, all right, how about this? Go and get some gumballs and fucking hang out at the arcade at the mall. Love you.
But I think that's everything that I want to get on with this. But is there any other funny moments as far as things that you want to talk about, or is that everything?
I wanted to bring up my almost on here was the first Coma episode. I almost had on, and it's just so you can talk about the alternate realities of the Coma, of how he's Kevin Finnerty, or he's not Kevin Finnerty, he's Tony Soprano, and this version of Tony is exactly what he says to Melfi, like season 1 or 2, like if he didn't get into life, he'd be selling patio furniture. And you find out this version of Tony Soprano sold patio furniture before he moved to Precision Optics. So it is the non-mob version. But he's not a better person. He still kind of cheats on his wife. Like, he makes out with that one chick in the hotel. Like, he's still kind of a scumbag. But he's not a criminal. And that's it. So the Tony we completely know and love, except he doesn't have the Jersey accent, which I think is great. That he talks like a normal person for once, and then he's not a gangster. But this Kevin Finnerty, that the identity that he picks up the briefcase and then he starts to lose his memories and gets Alzheimer's, and he like that identity's kind of taking him over, even though it's not his identity. Kevin Finnerty is kind of like a crooked dude. He like sold faulty air conditioners to like Shaolin monks. The hell, or like a Buddhist temple, but he is kind of like, that guy is kind of like shady. So it's almost like Tony Soprano versus Tony Soprano, and him struggling with what's right and wrong inside the Coma tree. And I want to bring that episode up just to talk about that, because I think it's so cool that in the middle of this mob show we can be like, all right, let's talk about identity. Like, it's so cool.
It's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to let John talk about it first, and then after that, I get into my thoughts on it.
If you want to.
Well, I like the scene where he fights them. The first initial hit. He's with the black dudes, and he fights them off in the car.
Season
I'm like,
one.
dude, that's like that's one of my favorite scenes right there.
But as far as the scene that the stuff that you're talking about though, Taco, is this. The thing that I liked about this was I feel like he was in purgatory, like how Christopher was in purgatory.
True, yeah.
And then sitting at the bar, when the bartender says, "Oh, it's dead in here," makes me think that he was surrounded by other dead people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then
Around here, it's dead. Yeah.
Right. And then the house, this house that he shows up at, where Tony B's at, and everything resembles life and death. If he went in that house, he would have been dead. Since he was outside, and his suit. Remember when he says about his briefcase? He goes, "My life is in there." That's pretty much his life as a whole.
And he calls it, and Tony B calls it business. You can't bring business in here, but it's my life.
Right.
Yeah. That's. Oof.
And so if he gave his life over to Tony B, and then he goes into the house, he would be dead. He would flatline on that bed. So with him holding on to that briefcase, he's holding on to his life. He's holding on to the things that he cares about the most, which is his family. Not his mob family, but his family as a whole.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's how he winds up getting out of the coma.
And I do like the word that brings his attention away from that house. And I do believe it signifies death as well, because who's in it? Dead people. You got Tony B, and then you have the, like, pretty much like the almost ghosty figure of his mom, who we saw in I believe we saw in the test stream. We see the episode of him as the old Italian Mason who walks up to this house and on the steps. Like, it almost gives me chills, like just like seeing the old lady up on the steps, but the way it's lit of like this, like that his mom is almost like a satanic figure, like almost a like the devil-y type figure in this. And she's in the house too, so it's death in the house. But I like that the word that gets him to pull away is a little girl's voice yelling, "Daddy." It's Meadow. And I do like that they could have done anything. They could have had anything make him go, "Okay, I don't want to die." But it's a girl's voice saying "Dad." That is very important. That shows you of how important his family is. And it's not, like you said, it's not his mob family. It's Meadow. That's his life, is his family. And I thought that was so powerful, and especially being a father of a daughter, that episode like affects me even more now, of like, yeah, that is why I'm doing it all. That's why I don't want to die. I got a kid. I got a life. Like, and yeah, so yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, so that's going to be it. Is there anything else you want to mention, though, John, real quick?
I just love the whole series. That's why it's hard for me to pick episodes and this and that, but it's just my favorite show of all time. I love it.
Okay.
I almost wanted to bring up College. Was very close to my list too, but it's more of the importance of the main character killing somebody in cold blood, because that has never happened up until this point. Now it has multiple times, but like the main character can be a piece of shit, but literally you're seeing the main character strangling a guy straight up, like, and then we're supposed to root for him afterwards. And David Chase had to fight with the network so hard to get that okayed, and they were like, "No, we're going to lose the audience," and he's like, "We'll lose the audience if he doesn't do it."
Yeah,
like
true.
He needs to be a killer.
Badass, yeah.
Well, we got to see him be a bloody murderer, because he is a bloody murderer.
That's part of the deal.
And it also symbolizes two versions, like the family side and also the mob lifestyle. So it symbolizes both in college. Yeah, he's taking his daughter, who's being a nice husband, and also too a parent, taking his daughter to college. But at the same time, now he sees this other mob figure that used to be in the mob, who's actually a witness protection now. Now there's actually the business aspect of it now that he has to take care of. So it's showing you the mob life, and it's showing you the family life that he has.
True. Yeah. And Meadow always suspecting what's going on. She was more smart to it than he thought.
I like that he just lies directly to her face.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You in the mob?" He's like, "You're in the garbage business. Everyone thinks they're mobbed up. You murdered somebody that day, but."
Hey, Dad, what about these marks on your knuckles? Oh, I fell.
It fell. Yeah, fell. That's why the wire cut around my palm. Yeah, you don't fall correctly.
Why is your shoes dirty?
There's a lot of mud.
Stop asking questions.
I like that he gaslights her. Like, what? You're trying to say all Italians are mobsters? like he gaslights his own daughter.
Yeah.
But he is a mobster.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, I love this show. Yeah, I agree with John Henry's sentiment. It's one of my favorite shows. It's hard to put this over the wire for me. I consider them both like up there, but it's so the writing is so insanely good, and the one thing this has over the wire is the performances. Not that the wire has bad performances, but James Gandolfini is one of the best actors.
Yeah.
Ever done anything. And then Edie Falco, as we already said, I do consider her performance of Whitecap the best that's the best acting I've ever seen. And then everyone does a really good job in the show. And that's what I like to tell people. And then I'm going to go. I like to, whenever somebody is asking me what a television show's about, I like to say the premise doesn't matter. It really doesn't. If you have good writing, good directing, and good performances, any show can be amazing. Like it doesn't I'm glad you need the hook to bring in. Oh, it's a mobster, but we don't stay because of that. We stay because everything fires on all cylinders. And Sopranos is that perfect example of we're not there just to see, the mobsters of New Jersey, which I'd never cared about before in my life. But it's because everything is done so perfect, and that's what makes the show good. It's not the subject. Kind of the subject because it's interesting, but it's the fact that the writing, the directing, the cinematography,
the whole cast is perfect.
The whole cast fires on all cylinders, and that's why the show's amazing.
The show is fantastic. This is also one of those TV series that changed the way we view TV and everything as a whole. This actually gave us a cinematic view for TV versus the cheesiness, right? And also too, I like Boardwalk Empire, but Sopranos will always be top of that. And then, of course, Breaking Bad is also another good one that came out because of The Sopranos and everything, too. So, I love The Sopranos as a whole. This has been, to be honest with you, Sopranos is always going to be my favorite thing to talk about. And also, too, I can't wait until the prequel comes out so I can talk about that.
Yeah, I want to watch that.
If I'm available, I would love to come back on here and talk about Many Saints. I've been wanting to watch that since it got done. Yeah. And it almost came out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
they pushed it over something, and then COVID.
Yeah,
and it's like, I got to watch that freaking movie. I watched that trailer 8 times the day it came out. I watched the Many Saints trailer 8 times.
Same here. Same here, man. Same here. So with that being said, I think that's going to be it for the show for today. But is there anywhere that people can follow you, Taco, or anything like that? Or...
Yeah, when I'm not working like crazy, I'm working like crazy right now. When I'm not working like crazy, you can find me on Schmoes of the North. I have a Star Wars show on there on Saturday nights called Let's Talk About Star Wars. And actually, Gold Leader from the Movie Trivia Schmoedown is my co-host. I call him my Chewie because he's my co-pilot. And we do a lot of things. We do Star Wars tier lists, and I do a lot of versus videos of one guy versus another guy, and I break down their lightsaber form. It's lightsaber forms and really get down to who'd. It's like my crack is talking about lightsaber forms. It's weird how much I love doing it. They make fun of me for it. Whenever we talk about droids, it's and Taco's unhappy because he can't talk about lightsaber forms. True, I am. And we also do an alien game. It's the second best Star Wars trivia on YouTube. And I describe an alien, and then the contestants have to say whether or not it's from Star Wars or not. And for an extra point, they can tell me what it is. So it could be aliens from all over the place. We've done 3 or 4 of these now, and we even had the Barbarian did one of them, which I did not know was going to happen. He kind of just showed up drunk and did one, and it was really fun from the Schmoedown. And so that's Let's Talk About Star Wars, and then also we just break down movie trivia Schmodown on Fridays and Saturdays. And there's a bunch of other shows that I'm not a part of that they do on that channel.
Okay. And here's the thing, guys. I'm actually part of Mount Schmodown on Saturdays and everything. I'm coming back in full swing next week to talk about some of the stuff that Brian and, of course, Ben are going to be doing. I have to get with them and see what we're going to be talking about for Mount Schmodown. But you can catch that at 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock Eastern, and 12 o'clock Pacific Time for that one. But, you know, if you guys want to, go on ahead and do this for me real quick. If you guys want to donate to the page, how do you do that? You just go to GoFundMe.com/Movie Lovers Podcast, donate $5 to $10 towards us. And this is just to keep the lights on here at Movie Lovers Unite. You guys don't have to if you don't want to. But another way that you can actually go ahead and support us, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and everything just to show us some support. Also, too, Tamara and I from Two Blur Girls Podcast teamed up. And this time we're teaming up with another fundraiser, and matter of fact, it's part of Red Cross, and we're donating money towards the victims of Louisiana. So go on ahead, buy yourself a Sensi. I'm going to have the link up in the descriptions below and everything in a few minutes, so you guys can go on ahead, donate towards Red Cross. All the funds go towards the Red Cross and everything too. And then, of course, guys, you guys can go on ahead and follow me on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there. Under the same brand name on Pinterest and on Instagram as well, and even on TikTok now. And then you guys can go on ahead and follow me on Good Pods. You know what? You guys should go on ahead, rate me on Good Pods. It's better than Apple Podcasts. I love this because of the fact with the system that they have and everything. You can actually tell us what you think about the episode, give us a 5-star review on it. Even if you don't like a certain episode, tell us what you didn't like about that episode. Maybe we can actually build towards something better. And then, of course, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit. And, of course, if you're a sponsor and would like to reach out to me, just go on ahead, email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And that's everywhere you can follow me at. And I just want to thank you, Taco, for joining me today. And I can't wait to have you back on the show again. And same thing with you, John Henry. I can't wait to have you on the show either. And thank you for taking the time out of your day as well to talk about a couple of our Soprano episodes. It's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. And always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.